Now I will take you through one of the most important concepts in the entire Income Tax Act. Now this is important from an entire income tax perspective and not only from the perspective of profits and gains of business and profession. This concept is that of depreciation. So let us first understand what do you mean by depreciation. Now what happens is that we all know that if a thing is new, the utility that it has, the value that it has is more. But as things move old or they grow with time, there is normally a wear and tear in the value of the thing. Let us say I got a machinery on April 1 and this is a brand new machinery. I used it for 6 months and then I reached September 30th. Normally what will happen is that between these two dates, because of the use of the machinery would not be in as good a condition as it was on April 1. So the condition on September 30th is most likely to be a little worse off or maybe worse off depending on the kind of machinery that it is vis-a-vis what it was on April 30th. Now this diminution or this decrease which happens in the value of machinery due to use or due to use over a period of time, over this 6 months period, is called depreciation. So depreciation is nothing but the diminution in the value of an asset arising out of use or wear tear or due to passage of time. Even if this machinery was kept idle in open or in the wherever it has to be kept for 6 months, the value will certainly go down. I mean, even if it were not used. So in this context, let us see the definition of depreciation. Depreciation is the diminution. Diminution means decrease, reduction in the value of an asset. Diminution in the value of an asset due to normal wear and tear and obsolescence. What this means is what I explained to you earlier. As you use the plant and machinery, definitely it doesn't remain in as good a condition as it was when it came in. And this loss which arises due to the use of the plant and machinery is basically depreciation. Now, under the Income Tax Act, depreciation is allowed under two methods. One is the written down value method. Now, this is the main method which is applicable. The straight line method is applicable only to power generating companies, which we will see subsequently. But otherwise, for income tax purposes, the depreciation is allowed on written down value method, unlike the Companies Act, where you can take this on SLM basis also. Now, in computing the depreciation on an asset, what happens is, suppose I have plant 1, plant 2. I have building 1, building 2. For income tax purposes, I do not compute depreciation independently on each of these plants. So suppose the value of plant is 1 lakh and this one is say 50,000. I don't compute depreciation individually on 1 lakh and 50,000 separately. What I do is I add up the value of all plant and machinery and I create something which is called the block of asset. So what block of assets mean for income tax purposes is covered in subsequent slides. So you really don't need to lose your sleep over this. So I compute a block of asset and then on this entire value, let's say this 1,50,000, I would have put this as 1,50,000 and then I would have calculated depreciation on 1,50,000. So just to summarize this slide, two things. One, depreciation is basically the reduction, the diminution, the decrease in the value of asset which may arise due to normal wear and tear which arises due to use of the plant and machinery or for that matter that asset or obsolescence. Now what do you mean by an asset? There is an exhaustive list, a schedule given where they have prescribed as to what are the tax rate or the depreciation rate for assets. Depreciation can be claimed either on a straight line method basis or on the basis of WDV. For income tax purposes, straight line method has limited applicability because it is available in case of power generating units only, while all the other companies have to use written down value method. And even in case of power companies, it's not mandatory that you have to use this SLM, it's optional. The detailed provision will follow in subsequent slides.